All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. When are we going home? I think we're getting very close. Uh, Everything we're seeing, Israel just uh, like went after some top people from Iran. Not, I mean, cool. They should defend themselves, but and cool because that means it's about time that we go. But not cool because they're ushering in this. And what's good about it? The Bible assures us that God is going to take care of them. The word is always true. The Bible is always true. I'm going to point out a few verses. I'm really proud of Wayne over We Are the Overcomers, recognizing that no man can know the day or the hour is actually only written in Matthew and Mark. It is not directed to the bride. They won't know. It's true. They won't know. They refuse to know. They're the first ones to say, "No man knows the day or the hour." I know exactly who those people are when they say that. I don't get upset at them. They are tribulation saints, and we pray for them. They're a great multitude that no man can count. So let's get into the video. I'm going to show you where we are on the timeline as I do. This is my piece of the puzzle. This is what my go-to. I believe I have figured out when all of the events occurred over the past 6,000 years. I was able to there's some firm things that happen. Uh, this now is ahead of your year, meaning there's 364 days in a year. We've moved it back 182 days. That's half of 364. And March 17th is now the head of your year. March 17th is the marker because if you use any other date, when you go into Stellarium and you look at the story that God has printed right in the heavens for us to see, if you use even the equinox, the sun will not make it through the water from the water bearer from Aquarius. Um, so you have to use March 17th in order for that to happen 1,000 years from now. And so I keep talking about, of course, the timeline because that's my piece of the puzzle. So many of you are just amazing researchers and everything else trying to figure this out. And when I show you, like Wayne over at We Are the Overcomers did today, or was it yesterday, his video, I'm going to show you how if you're not watching and trying to figure that, even if you are watching, but then in your heart you say, I guess he's not coming. If you say that, you could be counted amongst those who stay behind. It's not a salvational issue. I know how Cool Cat has deemed that not acceptable, but it isn't a salvational issue, meaning that you're not going to lose your salvation. You're saved, but you're going to lose your crown. You're going to lose your place. And I'm going to show you right where it says that in the Bible. So keep your hopes up, keep searching, keep trying to figure this out. All right, let's get into the pictures. We're going to start here. I want to show you that everything that we're seeing coming to pass right now is happening right before our eyes. The Bible gives a couple of firm dates, spans of time, being the 50-day count. That's a span of time. But what everyone misses, not everyone, some people do miss, is it says that Jesus rose on a Sunday, that he sees Thomas in the upper room on a Sunday, and from then you count 50 days and 7. That's how I know the Pentecost lands on Sivan 21, which is June 5th. Pentecost is not 40 days from when he rose. It's not 40 days after the wave sheaf offering. Pentecost, there's several counts that are going on here. We did 30-day counts on everything from back here, back from uh, where it all began on January the 1st, New Year's Eve, Tevet 17. That's the day that John leaps in the womb. 30 days later, it's Tu B'Shavat, the Festival of Trees. 30 days later is Purim, and 30 days later is the cross. And then 30 days after the cross is the second Passover. And then 30 days after that is the day Jesus ascended. Now, why do I think Jesus ascended on May 30th? because all roads are pointing to May 30th. Every numerical count that I do points to May 30th. Sivan 15. I have in the wrong line up here, Enoch born and raptured on Sivan 6. It's on the wrong line. It actually goes over here to May 20th. Remember these dates I'm telling you because I'm going to show you all these dates in Stellarium and in the Bible. Now, 150 days after the flood begins, the water begins to recede. And then 153 days after the flood begins, the ark rests on Mount Ararat. The Bible gives us very firm time span counts that cannot be ignored. We can't say, and there's been some that say the flood began over here on November the 10th. They keep seeing November the 10th and they're not sure why. November the 10th is the day that Noah leaves the ark. 1 year and 10 days later. That's the day he left the ark. November the 10th, November the 11th at nightfall. Our day counts get messed up when we get this far into the calendar because there's only 364 days, but this calendar counts 365 and a quarter days. So we have a 24 to 36 hour variance in here. So November the 10th was not when the flood began. The flood began back here on the night of Halloween. And you can go into any culture on the face of the earth right now, and they will have a day called the Day of the Dead, All Saints Day. Every single culture knows about this date. Very important date, Heshvan 17. When you count from that date, November the 1st, 150 days, you will land squarely on the cross perfectly. And that date is March 30th. If you count, now, how do you know you're right? How do you know you have a good calendar? You have a good timeline, a good calendar when that lands there, and then you count backwards 14 days, and where do you land? You land on March 17th. If you say the flood happened on November the 10th, then that's fine. Then you have to move the cross down to April the 10th. Unfortunately, April the 10th is the day that he meets Thomas in the upper room. And if you count back, you would go to March 27th. No event. It's the day after the triumphant entry. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit. Everything has to lock in like a puzzle. You can't put wrong pieces or square pegs in a round hole. It's real simple to do the count, and you come up with the correct days. So I noticed something, and I mentioned it to Patrick over at End Time Watchman. He's in the Discord, and he does. Oh, he's so great in there with everybody. So nice to everybody. He works with everybody. Does math, news. He's really a great guy. He's just an all around good guy. And I mentioned something to him. I said I didn't notice this, but look, 153 days after the flood, the ark rested. The day Jesus rises. Here, in about an hour, Eastern Standard Time, my time, 3 a.m. Israel time, you can do your math from 3 a.m. Israel time, is the moment Jesus rises from the grave. It is 84 hours from when he went or he gave up the ghost on the cross on March 30th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's exactly 84 hours. So he rises on April the 3rd, 4/3/30, at 3 a.m. The 4 is there, I believe, because now he has his bride. Are we going to be raptured? And I don't know. I mean, we're trying to figure this out. Look, it says no man knows the day of the hour in Matthew and in Mark, and it's true. They will not know. They don't know. But it says in Amos 3:7 that I'm going to tell you. So at the end of the day, God is going to tell us. Is that what this solar eclipse is all about on the 8th? I did a day count. I didn't know how to count because if I count back or even forward from when Jesus was circumcised, I get to um, April the 10th. That's the day, April the 10th. And it goes down here to where Jesus was circumcised. Where's this at here? He was born on the 30th. He was circumcised on October the 8th. It didn't match. That's the only thing that didn't match. So when I did a day count from October the 8th and went back, it lands on Guess what? April the 8th, 2 days before he meets Thomas in the upper room. Like I've been saying for about a year and a half, 2 years now, I don't see the tribulation saints being stuck here for 3.5 years. I can't find it. I can't find that example in the Bible anywhere. I do know that the two witnesses are here. I do know that Jacob's trouble is for the Jews. I do know that God's going to divert his attention back to the Jews. But what about this great multitude that no man can count? Where do they come from? When does it happen? And I think that all hell is going to break loose as soon as the rapture happens. But I don't think the first seal is opened. Not yet. I don't know if that first seal will be opened in September, on September the 15th, Feast of Trumpets, or September the 25th, the Day of Atonement. I don't know. Could that wait that long, 6 months? I don't know. It might. So I've got several counts that I want to show you that lock in a specific date very well. So, or to and from. So we have April the 3rd, which is about to happen in an hour. If you go to the day Jesus ascended, like I said, all roads lead to that ascension day. Pentecost is 7 days after that. But all roads lead to Ascension Day, Shavuot. I could never quite lock that down. Icar Symphony worked very hard with me last year to get through this period of time. And a lot of that is her research that she did, sending me emails back and forth. It was a lot of research that she did, that I did, that we put together, and this is what we came up with. We came up with Jesus going to the cross. 3 days later, 3.5 days later, he rises. 7 days later, now remember, when he rises, he says, "Don't touch me, for I have not ascended to my Father." As a matter of fact, if you read the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you'll find only in Luke and in John where they handled him. It says actually the word handle. He tells Mary, "Don't touch me, for I have not ascended to the Father." But in Matthew and Mark, you will see no conversation whatsoever of them actually touching him during this period of time. He can't. He is betrothed. He has his bride. So he will not, and you can go and research that for yourself, but he will not touch the anyone but the bride during that time. And that means the 144,000 are counted amongst that. They are changed and they stay here. We are changed and we're taken to heaven. The 144,000 stay here to warn the world, hey, don't take the mark. The bride goes to heaven and gets locked away, hidden away in her chambers. The 144,000, we believe, are the children that Herod killed for the word of God. Jesus was the word of God when he was born. They sought out Jesus by virtue of killing every child under the age of 2 to take out who Herod was concerned about as far as the new king being born, to take him out. But he messed up. He took out 140, and these babies were innocent. They were completely innocent. They didn't do anything. They were 2 years and under. So from where we read, it was a certain area and then the surrounding areas. So I believe it counts to 144,000. They've been in heaven. They will come down here and get in their new bodies and warn for a period of time. Who are they warning? They're warning the Jews. That's why I don't think that the tribulation saints are going to be here for that long. How long did it take? Remember, Jacob worked 7 years and he finally supposed to get Rachel, but surprise, Leah's in the tent. And what happens? Laban, the father of the two girls, says, "Give Leah her 7 days. And then you were going to assume the 8th day, you can have Rachel. But then you must continue to work for 7 years." I think that I think that some serious stuff is going to go down when the rapture occurs. I think that they can't push those buttons yet until the rapture occurs. And God is proving that. And we're sitting here whining, when are we going? When are we going? Trust me, I'm no different. I am whining too because I want to go. But I know that I haven't figured it out yet. It's not because God's delaying. It's not because he forgot about us. It's not because there's no reason. The only reason is because we haven't figured it out yet. There is a specific day. It doesn't move. The goalpost doesn't change. We're just trying to figure it out, and we give these high watch days to look at. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's 100%. Not until God tells who. All of us. Not me to tell you. Not anybody else to tell anyone else. He is going to tell all of us. Amos 3:7 promises that. If you're watching YouTube videos, you're you're excited about this, a little disturbed that it hasn't happened yet, and you're just going through studying the Word of God, saying, "Okay, Repo Man just said this. Let's check the Bible," and you're checking back and forth. You are probably a bride. You're looking very forward to this moment happening. There are people who are not looking forward to it at all. They have no clue, don't care, don't want to watch, don't think about it whatsoever. All we do is think about it. All we do is study about it. All we do is try to figure it out. So these people, and I know this upsets some of you because some of you are like, I wonder if I'm good enough. It's not about being good. You're saved. Hang in there. You're saved. But this great multitude will go after the bride. And this great multitude, you've met them. It's not you. You've met them. They're walking around going, nobody knows the day or the hour. It's not going to happen for another 100 years. It's not going to happen for another year. They might be right, but they aren't watching. They gave up watching. And I'm going to show you a passage that warns you to not act that way. So let's get back into the pictures. Remember these dates. April the 3rd. Here in a few hours in Israel, Jesus will rise. And then we go to Shavuot, May the 30th. And this is the point where Jesus ascends. But then 7 days later is the first Pentecost. So how do we count a Pentecost? Well, we count a Pentecost from the wave sheaf offering. And I'll show you the verse. What happened? Jesus rises from the grave. He tells Mary, "Don't touch me, for I have not ascended to my Father." He hangs out. He rises at 3 in the morning. They find him at 4, 5 in the morning that he's not in the tomb. They run back and tell the apostles, "Hey, he's risen." And they, "What?" And then they run back to the tomb to find the cloth folded. And in Luke and in John, you'll see they handle him, but otherwise, nobody touches him. He goes through the day, and then all of a sudden, you don't hear about him again. You don't hear about him at all. I would put forth the idea that because Lazarus was dead in the tomb for 4 days, that if you take the 3.5 days, the 84 hours, and add 12 hours to it, you'll have those 4 days that he was talking about Lazarus. And I think that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, Jesus rose to heaven. And what did he do up there? Well, he stayed up there for 7 days. He had to stay up there for 7 days to be clean. And what did he do on the 8th day? Early in the morning, the same time he rose, what did he do? He did the wave sheaf offering for us. What did he do that afternoon? Probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He appeared to Thomas in the upper room. Thomas put his fingers in the hole. Who is Thomas? Thomas is the doubter. He's the one that says, I don't believe it. I don't believe it till I see it. I talk to so many people. Yes, if I see a rapture occur, otherwise I don't believe it. But until I see that, when I see that, at that moment I'm going to be like, oh, he was right. Let me get into my Bible. More often than not, that is the way the conversation goes is, hey, I'll study as soon as you're gone. And that's true. The Bible is very clear that the great multitude will start diving into this and trying to figure this out like we have been for the past 2,000 years, and they will start figuring it out. How long after we go, I have no idea. I don't think we're supposed to know. I think when it says no man knows, we don't know either. The bride does not know. Only the Father knows. And I think he's talking about their being taken away as well as us. So, Shavuot is 100. I'm sorry, Jesus ascends is 153 days from Shavuot. This is the day that Moses ascends to Mount Sinai and waits 7 days. Remember, he's up there for 7 days. He's getting married. He's getting married at that moment. So, if you come down here, the wave sheaf offering, wave of unleavened bread, you have a week of that. I think on Sunday he does the wave sheaf offering. This is the eighth day. This is Thomas in the upper room. This is April the 10th. Of course, when I heard that there was an eclipse on April the 8th, I could not understand. Mary ascends, Ascension Day, 153 days to the flood. Right smack in the middle is a mirror to Noah's Ark, October the 31st, Heshvan 17, IR 17, which is May the 2nd. We all know May the 14th, Israel became a nation. May 20th, Sivan 6 is the day Enoch was born and he ascended. May 30th is Ascension Day for Jesus, Sivan 15, and Sivan 21 is the first Pentecost. Remember, I want to reiterate this. Pentecost is counted from the Sabbath after. So if it's a Sunday, you go to the Sabbath, you begin counting your 50 days. It's 57 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7. Now count 50. It's 57 days. If you count 57 days from the day the ark rested, from the day Jesus rises, you land on Ascension Day perfectly. And right in the center of that is May the 2nd. All right, let's go on through here. I don't know if this happened. We haven't heard yet. It might have happened. They might have sacrificed the red heifer. The last picture I saw, there was only two red heifers. Don't know what happened to the third one. So I don't know. I showed you this before from the Last Supper up until he gave up the ghost on the cross was 21 hours, 1,260 minutes. We see that 1,260. I'm wondering if perhaps, of course, it also would apply to this. From the moment Jesus gave up the ghost on the cross to halfway through the moment I think that I don't know if they crucified or sacrificed this red heifer on the at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 30th. I figured by April the 1st we'd find out. We haven't found out definitively yet. From the moment Jesus gives up the ghost to the moment he rises, April the 3rd at 3 a.m., which is coming up here in an hour, 84 full hours. All right. I This song came to my head. Uh, turn, turn to everything. There is a season and a time and every purpose under heaven. So the Bible clearly says that this moment is going to happen. It's not going to change, not going to move. We simply haven't figured it out yet. But God's date hasn't moved. It's there, and he just loves as we try to seek it out. We seek out the matter. We're trying to figure it out. He loves that. I believe that just based on the verses we read, he says, it is for God to hide a matter, and it's for kings and queens to seek them out. This is kings and what is it, prophets, not queens, to seek them out. So it's really important that we continue to try. Now, Brother Dana had a really good video. Of course, I watched it back then, but he does a thing with Mercury, and I'm going to show it to you. I thought it was staggering, blew my mind. He starts his time, which I thought was really cool, on my head of the year, March 17th, the first day of the year, and he follows, I believe it was Mercury, through retrograde, which I'm also going to show you what he did. Now, this is Truth, Love, Light. Truth, Love, Light. She put out an amazing video. And this is, of course, both of them are talking about the seven bowls of judgment being poured out. You can't pour out an empty bowl, it has to be filled up. And they show very clearly how these seven or the six planets, because we're the eighth planet. Well, we're not the eighth planet, we're the third rock from the sun, but six planets are filled up, and then the sun, and they all pass through in a perfect sequence, in a perfect order. And she has March 13th. Now, March 13th is the day Lazarus got sick. Lazarus got sick on March the 13th, and they sent messengers to tell Jesus that he was sick. They got there on March the 16th, then Jesus sat still for 2 days because it was Rosh Hashanah. It was the head of the year, which is what Rosh Hashanah means. And trumpet says it's in the seventh month. That literally does not mean Rosh Hashanah. There are not two events happening on September the 15th. There's Feast of Trumpets happening, not Rosh Hashanah, because it's the seventh month. It might have used to have been the first month, but God changed that during the flood. So the day Lazarus gets sick is the day that all of these are filled up. I thought that was amazing. What is this? Oh, on Looking Up, she has a Facebook, she has a YouTube, she does a lot of work. Christina, I guess, posted this. I just read a Muslim sourced post which, while researching the red heifer sacrifice that may have taken place last night. Now, this is happening. I believe this post came. I don't know when this post came. It had to have come. The reason I would have took a picture of it is because it would have happened on March 30th at 3 o'clock in Israel, which would have been uh, last night for us here, Eastern Standard Time. A lot of people believe that the rapture is going to come back, and they're expecting their Messiah to come back on April the 8th. A lot of people are expecting the rapture to occur on April the 8th. I don't know. We're watching. This is something I found, or maybe she found. Internet is on buzz with the news of Israel sacrificing red heifer. Here's what social media take on the matter. Probably on March 29th, which I think it was March 30th. For us, it might have been, let's see, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No, it would have been March 20th. So March 30th is when I think I think they would have had to done it March 30th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon Satan would have had to mimic or throw in the face of Jesus and minimize his sacrifice and say, here's the 10th one. No, sorry, Jesus is the 10th one, not this one. This one's the 11th one. So you can go read that for yourself. And there's all of the heifers that have been sacrificed so far, and they've left off number 10. All right. Oh, I was having a discussion. I was having a discussion in Discord with somebody. It's a Sharon. I don't recall. She noticed, and I had never noticed this, but she noticed in a leap year, only in a leap year, on the 16th, does the second count go over 12 hours. That's it. Only in a leap year. And it does it. I looked forward several leap years. Every fourth year I looked, and sure enough, on the 16th, and she said, I wonder if it moves one day forward. I don't know. Then that would mean that Jesus doesn't rise tonight, that he actually, in a leap year, I don't even know if you could figure back if 30 AD would have been a leap year. I don't know. I didn't do all that math. That's beyond my scope. But 4/4/30 AD at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You see what I'm saying? Or three was yeah, rise is 3 o'clock. So that would be tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know, but she noticed this, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I wanted to give her kudos on that for finding that. You see here, it's always 11:59 in seconds. It's never 11:58, and it's never 12 except in a leap year. So does that move the head of the year by one day? I don't know. 600 years from now, it's obviously not a leap year because it's under 12. If that rule holds up for every fourth year, still the 16th is the final day of the year. It's the last Sabbath. Whatever day the 16th lands on in any given year is the day your Sabbaths occur throughout the year. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, it never changes. 600 years from now, it's never going to change, ever. It never moves. It's solid. If you go back 400 years, you're going to notice it was on the 6th, but they changed the calendar by 10 and a half days, 11 days, and on the 6th is when the day of equal parts was. Like I said, you can move the Gregorian calendar wherever you want. You can start calling this January 1st if you want. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because that's just the day you begin counting. Everything just shifts. That's all. You just count 14 days from here, and you'll know exactly, and that would be the 20th. You know exactly the day Jesus rose. It doesn't change. All right. Steve Fletcher. He does all kinds of rabbit hole studies. He found there's a second cargo ship that hit a bridge. Now remember, everything happens in threes. Have you ever noticed that? Disasters almost always happen in threes. Uh, we've had two cargo ships hit bridges. I don't know if there's a third one or if the Obama movie was the first one. I mean, they did run it aground, right? Or was that just sci-fi imagery? They didn't actually run it aground. I don't know. But here we are. Uh, this person was born September 11th, which is the first day of creation. Let me zoom in. Sorry. September the 11th in 1896, and they died January 1st, 1963. I'm like, wow. So that's the kind of stuff that Steve Fletcher finds. Pretty cool. Okay, I told you I was going to show you how to count Pentecost. Here it is. Write this down. Ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf offering. So when do you count? You count from the day after the Sabbath. What day did this happen? It happened on a Sunday. Jesus rose on a Sunday, and there's 7 days of unleavened bread, and then he sees Thomas in the upper room. What do you think he did that morning? This is what he did. He stayed up there for 7 days, and on the eighth day he did the wave sheaf offering to cover us for our sins, and then he went to see Thomas in the upper room. Ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath. Start counting after the Sabbath. It's Sunday. Count 7 days to the Sabbath. Then I want you to count 50 days from the day that ye brought the wave sheaf offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. Now, let me go back here and show you real quick. Jesus rises on April the 3rd. He goes to heaven. He sees people throughout the day, tells everyone, don't touch me except Luke and John. They're the bride. They can touch him. You won't find anybody touching him in any other thing. And then he stays up there for 7 days. And then he does the wave sheaf offering. Thomas in the upper room. He returns that afternoon. He does the wave sheaf offering in the morning. It's Sunday. When do you start your count? 50 days after the next Sabbath. It's Sunday. You have to count 7 days to get to the Sabbath, to Saturday. Then you start your count. And when you do that, you come down here, 50 days and 7 days. I put the 7 on the end. I could have put it up front, but 57 days. See it blue just above there, and then here in kind of orange, 50 days. 57 days. Where does it land? All roads lead to Jesus Ascension Day on May 30th, Savan 15th. Thought that was pretty cool. All right, where am I at? Got past that, got past that. This. Yes, that's the Pentecost. That's how you count Pentecost. CERN to test world's most powerful particle accelerator during April solar eclipse to search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe. Yeah, you know who that invisible matter that secretly powers our universe is? They are searching for God. This is from Joseph Aquaviva. He has he does gematria. I don't know how to say that. In English, you call it gematria. They have this way of saying it that for that language, but he does a lot of this kind of rabbit hole stuff. His piece of the puzzle is tying this kind of stuff together. It's amazing. I listen to his channel all the time. He does a really good job. His channel's growing nicely. So why do you think they're going to do this on? And I also heard they were going to do it on, I think, the 23rd or 24th. I have to look at what that date meant, but it meant something on the timeline as well. So why do you suppose they're going to do this on the 8th? What does the moon right in front of the sun have to do with anything? Just point it at the moon I don't know what it has to do with anything, but to them it means something. All right. 150 days. November the 10th is the day Noah got off the ark into a brand new world. This is the day 1 year and 10 days after the flood began. He gets off the ark. If you count 150 days, guess where you land? You land on April the 8th. That's when the solar eclipse is. These day counts cannot happen on any other timeline. They can't happen. Um, let's see here. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to, when you hear somebody say they don't know the day or that, they are absolutely correct. They are not lying to you. They are not closing their minds. They cannot. The Bible says, when God's saying this, he's not saying that you won't know. They can't know. Their brain will not allow them to know. I don't know how else to say it. When we finally get the date, they will not be able to see it. They will be blind to it. All right. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. We see this in Matthew, so we know it's predominantly speaking to the Jews. They're not looking. They don't care. When the rapture occurs, it's going to be like any other day. They won't know. They cannot see this moment coming. They don't even believe Jesus is God. They don't believe he's God. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking. Are they going to be eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage after the horrific things begin to happen when tribulation begins? No. This verse is speaking to them not knowing when the rapture is going to occur. Even if God came to them and gave them a clear sign, I don't know, like an eclipse or a day count that matches perfectly to that date, or a million uh, YouTubes that are searching this out and trying to figure it out. Doesn't matter. They won't see it. They can't see it. Mark, the sleepy church. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. And Wayne over at We Are the Overcomers said something that really touched my heart. He said, when you pray, they asked Jesus, how do you pray? You pray to the Father, our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. So the Mark group is the tribulation saint. They will not and can't not know the day and hour. But what's he tell them in this one? Take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. They don't know when the rapture is going to occur. But guess what's going to happen to them? The Son of Man is a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work. Now, and he says, and commanded the porter to watch. He told them to watch. When? After the rapture, he's going to give them a Holy Spirit. He's going to give them a measure of faith. And remember, there's a great multitude that no man can count that's going to come into heaven after the bride. It's like very fast. If you read it in Revelation, it's like, who are these? Who are these? Oh, these. This is the first seal. This is the second seal. Hey, come over here. Look, this is the third seal. And then the sixth seal. Who are these? I don't know. You know. Oh, these are those that came out of great tribulation. These are those that came out of tribulation. Are those seals opened up over the course of 3.5 years? I don't know. It almost seems to me like they're opened up in 6 days and they appear in heaven after 6 days. I don't know. I can't lock that in, but maybe God will tell them during the tribulation. He's telling them that, and commanded the porter to watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, even or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. Does that remind you of anyone? Who was sleeping? The 10 virgins, all 10 of them. The 5 virgins with oil are not the bride. The 5 virgins with oil is this group right here. This group is going to begin watching and going down rabbit holes and studying and researching and trying to figure this out. They're going to be pouring over tons of information over, I hope, some of our YouTubes will make it through after the power comes back on. They're going to be studying and trying to figure out when they're going. And so he's telling them you won't know, but then he's telling them to watch. Again, sleepy church. And then we get over here. Be ready for service. Be ready any hour. Be ready any hour. Be ready for service. We, the bride, earthquake just happened. We, the bride, will be carrying a rod of iron. We will get mansions. We will appear at a banquet. We will get crowns. We will be locked away in our mansions for 7 years. We'll hide away for 7 years. But we'll also be there to see this great multitude show up in heaven. Let your loins be girded about you, and your lights burning, and yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord. That's us. When he will return from the wedding. Wait a minute. He's not talking to us. We are the wedding. Who's he talking to here? He's talking to the tribulation saints. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. What lights? You have oil. You are one of the 5 virgins that have oil. You all fell asleep. You all missed the rapture. He returns being called the bridegroom. He cannot be called the bridegroom in their language. He's called the bridegroom because he already has his bride. When he shows up to pick up the tribulation saint, he finds all of them sleeping, but he finds 5 of them with oil. They woke up. They heard the horn, the trumpet. They woke up. 5 said, hey, give us some of your. No, you go buy it. We've already bought our oil. We've already spent our time here. We searched and tried to figure this out. We know the date he's coming back, but not quite. We don't know if it's in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night. So we all fell asleep, but we have oil. The oil, the people with oil, are the tribulation saints, and your lights burning. This is work. They are working. They have to do work. They have to gird their loins. Their lights are burning. Keep your lights burning, and yourselves like unto men that wait for our Lord. So, like I say, Luke is predominantly written to the bride, but this verse is not meant for the bride. This verse is meant for the tribulation saint. When he will return from the wedding, he's already going to his wedding. That when he cometh and knocketh, remember, that ye may open unto him immediately, like the 5 virgins did with the oil. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. They also will begin watching as soon as we're gone. They will begin going, uh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe we can know the day and the hour. Maybe we're supposed to be watching. Maybe we're not supposed to be making armchair comments in our YouTubes. You know, no man knows the day or the hour. Maybe we're not supposed to be doing that. Maybe we're not supposed to be, how do you call, getting other people into your camp. If you recognize, what if I'm wrong about this? And you bring other people with you, ooh, that's bad. I'm trying to bring people into the brideship. I don't want people to go through tribulation. But when you make those comments, you're bringing people into the tribulation. Not good, not a good idea. All right, so you'll notice that the horse is hungry. Let's see. If I so sitteth down to meat, I will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch or the third and find them so, blessed are those servants. And this know that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched. They are not watching. They don't want to watch. God is going to steal us away. We're going to be raptured out of here. Let's see here. Why did I highlight this one? Oh, this is the warning. This is the warning now. He's warning the bride. Okay. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household? Who's he talking to now? He's talking to the bride. We will be made rulers over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season. Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But if that servant say in his heart, be careful about this bride, don't make this comment, don't think about this in your heart. The day and hour is going to happen. It has been it has been pinned out 6,000 years ago. It was done. It was a done deal. We are just trying to figure it out. That's why I call them high watch days. I will not say that God told me that this is the day it's going to happen. I guarantee it. You can't do that, because the truth is, if God told you and he didn't tell me, either I'm not a bride and going in this rapture, or you're lying. One or the other. You can't say that. If you say a date and say 100%, I will get the same information. Not from you, from God. God will tell us. He promised it to us. He said he was going to in Amos 3:7. He said in Revelation 3:3 that if we don't watch, what will happen? And then we have this warning, clear as a bell, right here in Luke. But, and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men. So I know what you're thinking. I'm not hitting my wife and kids just because the Lord didn't come. Begin to eat and drink and be drunken. What he means is you've given up. Yeah, I was watching. I watched for years, but these goofballs never could figure out the date. We're not supposed to figure out the date. You are. It's not supposed to be me figuring it out, telling you. You're supposed to figure it out. We're all supposed to, because we can't. God is going to tell us. It might flash on the TV screen. I'm coming tomorrow. And only we could see it. Or everyone will see it. They'll be like, I wonder what that was about. I don't know. But we'll be like, it's on the television. It just showed up. He says he's coming tomorrow. That's how it's going to happen. Amos 3:7 wasn't a promise to me to figure it out and then tell you. No, Amos 3:7 was a promise to all of us, that all of us are going to be told. And how do you know you're a bride? Yeah, when you're told and you see and believe. But if you say in your heart, it could be another. I heard this one guy put on a really good program talking about it's not going to happen for another 10 years, because I actually heard somebody say this, and I was just like, oh, those people that are in Israel right now, they're not real Jews. So you can say what you want about them. Do you think God made a mistake on May 14th, 1948 and put the wrong people in there? Do you think that that day count in Psalms 90:10 is just a figment of our imagination and we're not supposed to be counting from this group of people, but maybe 100 years from now from another group of people that God's going to instill into Israel? That all the events that we've seen take place in Israel, all of this invasion and October the 7th and all, that's just a coincidence? Come on. There's no way you believe, but they will believe the most fantastic, outrageous, exhaustive things that it would take a little faith to believe that the rapture could occur uh, at any moment. It would take a lot of faith to believe that these people in Israel, they're not God's chosen people, and we don't have to support them. That's insane. We stand behind Israel 100%. Netanyahu, go get them. Go get them. Go to Rafah. Get them. That's what I say. All right, let's continue. Ooh, 25 more minutes. I want to get this uploaded. Mercury, April the 3rd at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, this, I think I made a mistake. I think this is my time, but it doesn't change much. So I just put the time on there for you to see. 3 o'clock in the morning in Israel on April the 3rd, Jesus rises. This very moment right here, within this 12-hour period, or I think they're 7 hours away from me, within this period of time, Mercury stops heading towards that last band of the fish that's aiming to heaven and works its way back to the second, well, the first band, I guess you could call it, because that's the fish that's kind of looking back. He warns us. Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I keep hearing this, and it's driving me bonkers. Oh, when we're being raptured, don't look back or you might fall down. No! The rapture is going to happen so fast. You're going to be standing here 1 second, and the next second you're going to be in heaven. You aren't going to have time to turn around and look back. It's not what he's talking about. He's not talking about Lot's wife turning around, turning into a pillar of salt. By the way, a pillar of salt, she's the salt of the earth. She is a tribulation saint. It's the fish he's talking about, the one that's constantly looking at the world. If you're here right now worried about your 401k and your job and how much money you can get put into the bank and this car I'm going to buy next month because I just or the promotion, if that's your worry, if that's your main concern, I can tell you right now, the bride, I know the bride is ripping the Bible apart to shreds, every jot and tittle, trying to figure it out. And I've seen some detailed, in-depth studies into the Bible, and I'm mind blown by what they find. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I listened to what is it? Let me find it. I want to show it to you. Who it is? Let's see here. Subscriptions. Is it the Bible Formula? Oh yeah, yeah, there he is. Hold on. He's right here. This guy, the Bible Formula. Wow, he's been posting every day. Chuck Missler, a comment. Now, if you go watch this series of 5 things that the Bible Formula has been posting about Chuck Missler, it will blow your mind. It will absolutely blow your mind. So go watch that. That's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, don't worry. Look, nobody's going to snatch you out of the Lord's hand. You're getting raptured. You're studying. You're trying to figure this out. This is the only thing you can think about. You've been like this for years. You can't think of any other way to be. You don't want to do anything horrible. This is literally your addiction, I guess you could call. This is exactly where you want to be, studying this stuff. You aren't gonna. Looking back means you're in the world. It doesn't mean that, all right, in the middle of my rapture, if I turn around, don't. I'm gonna look back. I'm gonna look back. Ooh, that's bad back there. I'm not gonna look back. We're gonna be in heaven in a flash, so fast, faster than you can blink. I mean, it's that fast. There is no time to turn around. So don't think that. That's a silly thought that I heard somebody come up with, and I'm like, what? April the 3rd, 3 a.m. The moment Jesus rises, this Mercury goes into retrograde, starts heading back the other way. I show you here just 12 hours later on April the 3rd, you see Mercury's actually gone further away from that band. Okay. And I just wanted to show you April the 3rd at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Mercury begins to go into retrograde on the second band, on the fish that's looking up to heaven, not the one that's got its eyes on the earth still. Mercury's on its way back still, and look, we have an eclipse. Is that the rapture date? I don't know. I'd like to say yeah, but you know what? Amos 3:7 hasn't been fulfilled for every single one of us yet. So uh, I don't know. Maybe tonight we'll all have a dream and we'll know. I don't know. We'll find out, right? All right. So April the 8th. What's April the 8th? It's not only is that the day of the eclipse, but that is also the day that Jesus was circumcised and named 182 days later on October the 8th. October the 8th is also, did I do that right? October? Let me make sure I did that right. April the 8th, what month is that? Let's see. Tishri 8. Am I doing that right? Uh, no. Tishri 8. Tishri 10. Hold on a second. Oh, Yom Kippur. I've been saying the wrong thing. It's Tishri 10, Yom Kippur, and then 2 days earlier. Or did I? I think I have to go the other way. I think I have to go from October the 8th and go that way. Oh, I think I have the math. Sorry about that. It's actually 8 months. But I think I have the math because I believe it's 153 days from when Israel was invaded to that date. Let me go look. All right, where was I? Ugh, that's going to be interesting. Oh, I was over in here. Just remember that moment right there, April the 8th. There is a time count the Bible tells us about, and I'm going to apply it and I'll show it to you, I hope, here in a moment. April the 10th, that's Thomas in the upper room. Thomas in the upper room, Mercury is in retrograde and is close to the sun at that moment. April the 8th is when the when the how do you call the eclipse happens, and something else, but I don't remember the exact day count. I'll show you here in a moment. April the 17th, Mercury is back on that first band. That would be the first band. It's retrograded back to the first band on April the 17th. What happens on April the 17th? Whoops. April the 17th. Oh, April the 17th is, what is that? April the 17th? That's after the week of no bread. This is where Jesus shows up on the shore. He's cooking fish and he has bread. He can't have that bread. This is the work Easter Symphony did last year. He can't have that bread because you have a week of unleavened bread, then you have a week of no bread, and then he shows up. Jesus shows up on the shore, says, "Cast your nets on the other side," and that's where he shows up. You read in the passage that he has bread and he's cooked fish. So from that day is when 3 days later is when he starts his 40-day walk with mankind. All right, let me get back to where I was so you can see these dates play out. 17th, April the 20th. Oh, I told myself I was going to memorize this. I don't know. Hold on. What's April the 20th? Whoops. What's April the 20th? I keep doing that. There we go. April the 20th. April the 20th is, oh, that's after the 3 days. April the 20th is that, it's the 5th of Iyar, April the 20th. I know everybody says the 5th of Iyar, Israel became, no, the day count's wrong. It's not the 5th of Iyar, changes every year. Israel became a nation actually on the 29th of Iyar. So 3 days later is the day on April the 20th that Jesus began walking with man for 40 days until his ascension on Sivan 15. All right, let me get out of here. Let me go back here. That's the 20th. What's the next one? The 29th. Does anybody remember the 29th? Hold on, let me go back. See how much work this is? Stop. The 29th. What is the 29th? The 29th. Oh, that's Ascension Day. May 30th, May 29th. It's Ascension Day. The day count lands there. May? No, April the 29th. That can't be right. Oh, Israel becomes a nation. That second Passover. It's exactly 153 days to the day Jesus was born. He was born on September the 30th. Again, like I said, the timeline locks itself in. These day counts can't happen on any other timeline. This cannot happen anywhere else. April the 29th is IR 14. It's the day Israel became a nation. All right, let me go back. Let's see here. 20th, 29th, and May 14th. That's the moment Mercury comes back to the second band. What happens on May 14th? I wish I'd have memorized it. I told you to memorize them. I didn't memorize them. What happens on May the 14th is the day Israel became a nation. Sorry about that. That is actually IR 29, and it correlates with Heshbon 29. I had Sister Sandy did this whole timeline for me. It's amazing. Only thing I need to do is move Enoch, Born and Raptured down here to the line of Savan 6. But otherwise, this thing is absolutely amazing. But yeah, Israel became a nation on May 14th. I should have remembered that date. What the heck? All right, May 14th. Look what time I took the picture. 3:16. What? All right. That's it. That's it. Oh, I had the timeline right here at the end, and I did all that work going to the beginning. I could have just scrolled over. All right. So I want to give you encouragement to tell you nothing's delayed. We just haven't figured it out yet. And at the end of the day, Amos 3:7, he's going to tell every single one of you, all of you that are just dreaming about this day coming. There's nothing here you're interested in. You're just dreaming about that day to show up, and he's going to tell us. Amos 3:7 is a promise. Everything else in the Bible has been fulfilled to a T. Um, Go listen to that Bible formula. It's really cool. And listen to the last five, it's like an hour each, things of Chuck Missler. And you're going to see how perfectly the Bible is written. It's absolutely amazing. So, all right, Repo Man 64, go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord into your heart. Um, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Come into the Discord if you got any math. Go into the comment section. You can't post pictures in this. Why I invite everybody into the Discord. So many new people that are coming in. It's incredible. Some of the stuff that they come up with. Some of it goes right over my head. I'm calendrical. I deal with calendars and timelines and the relationship between, when God said, "Oh, it's 150 days," that's the cross. It's perfect. That's absolutely perfect on the cross. So you can get the timeline from Sister Sandy. She created a website. It's not for me. She actually has a website all her own where she has put a lot of timelines from a lot of different watchers and stuff in there, not just mine. Yes, there are other timelines that are looking at the moon. I don't. It doesn't make me any smarter by any means. We're just all trying to figure this out. And the timeline, the further I go with it, the more I realize it's correct. The timeline's correct. It's right on the money. And to me, it's absolutely when I want to know when something happened, I just go to the timeline. To me, that it just matches. Everything I find matches. Nobody in the last at the beginning, of course, at the beginning of the 5 years when I started doing this, and that was actually my prayer. You know what bothers me? You know what bothers me? I did not pray to know the date of the rapture. I messed up. I messed up really bad, and I prayed to know when the head of the year was. That was my prayer, and I prayed it. I said, Lord, I had my surgery. I was stuck in bed for a month. I couldn't move. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. I don't recommend anybody go through losing 2 feet of intestine, and oh my goodness, it was so bad. Uh, I don't almost dying from it. I don't recommend anybody go through that. If you can avoid doing that, avoid that, please. So here I am watching all, and of course now it's a beautiful thing that God did this because I was making timelines and researching this years ago, and then well, it's been almost 6 years now. Is it 5 or 6 years? I think it's been almost 6 years now, um, because I spent a year trying to determine, listening to all of these YouTube videos on this, and everybody had a different head of the year, different head of the year, and I finally realized I'm like, we are never going to know any firm date of when these things happen if we don't know the head of the year. And that was my prayer. And I believe God answered that prayer. I believe God answered that prayer very clearly when I accidentally found the day of equal parts. It is the most firm moment in time uh, where it never moves, but by a few seconds every year. But it stays the same. It doesn't budge. It doesn't go anywhere. You can change the calendar all you want, but a day. There's going to be a day that they have to. And what's incredible to me, more incredible, more confirming than anything, is that Noah spent 1 year and 10 days. There's never been 360 days in a year. It was never 360 days before the flood. It has always been 364. Everybody reads this in Enoch or does the 1,260 day count. Let me give you some advice. When you're doing your 1,260 day count, there are Kaseys every year. There's four of them, and it's when the season changes. There are 90 days and a day for the season to change. There are 90 days and a day for the season to change. We see that throughout the Bible. There's this hidden day, and it happens 4 times a year. So if you're going to count 1,260, which is 3.5 years, I suggest do your count at 1,274 days. You're missing 14 days. They still happened. The sun still came up and went down. God just, I don't want to say he ignores them. I don't want to say he doesn't count them because, but he just, when he tells you 1,260, he's telling you 1,274. In 3.5 years, each year has four. 3 years, that'd be 12. A half year has two. Add 14 days to 1,260 is 1,274. Are you having trouble? And I don't do that kind of math, but are you having trouble with your math when you're doing the 1,260 days going, man, if only I had 14 more days, and this would have lined up perfectly. Try it. Try your math with 14 more days or 28 more days when you're talking about the 25/20. Try your math with the extra days to see if that helps you out at all. So, um, what else is there? 7:51. 9 more minutes. We'll have time to upload this video. I don't know. Will this video have audio? If this video has no audio, I'm gonna have to come out here and do this live tomorrow night. If Sharon has found something genuine in that the day of equal parts actually lands 1 day later, is it tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know. I think that if it would have been today, Amos 3:7 would have been fulfilled. So I'm kind of thinking no. Are we going to get a 3 day warning because it's already less than 7 days to the eclipse? Are we going to get a 3 day warning that this is it? This is when it's going to happen. I don't know, but I know that the Bible will be fulfilled. It will. Amos 3:7 will be fulfilled. He will tell us. So, all right. Repo Man 64, I think I've blabbed enough. We will chat with you again tomorrow or the next day, depending on whether or not this has audio. All right.